Welcome back to another reading and correcting of Shattered Self with me, Kindar, the Tiger. Oh, and Ty, Tiger Supervisor. Can't ignore him. Forget about it. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Today we are doing chapter. Oh, where's my. Catherine watched her scattered people casually walk to various exits, heading back and climbing the ladder to eyeing them. When she came back, she'd have to finally clean the cabinet, locked it, small case, and unlocked that. From it, she pulled her old Luminex ID, Similac K23, had been her assigned weapon. They had probably upgraded to a newer model now, but one got attached to her gun. Stunner. She went to the attached bathroom, dug through the mess. Went to the attached bathroom, dug through the mess in the drawers for a makeup kit. She hadn't used it in decades, but she knew it was still there. Still there, somewhere. Really let things slide, Catherine. Thomas wouldn't be happy with the mess. Her chest tightened at it. She'd been she'd been told it would lessen in she'd been told it would lessen in time, and she'd both dreaded and looked forward to a time when she could actually think of her dead husband and breathe. She no longer thought about him as the time she did. Back. It took her a full minute before her chest loosened. Pleased, she no longer bawled her eyes out. It happened. She found the case and momentarily at a loss as to what to do with the she when was the last time she did her reflection at the destroyed right side of her was there even a it wasn't like she could cover that up cover up that that up cover that up with makeup. Still, she was going to play corporate. She had to look. She applied the makeup as lightly as she could, roll on the colors until they enhanced the shape of her left side. She put the case away. Room. Brad looked over his shoulder, nodded, and went back to reading on his data pad. She didn't hurry as she crossed the laneway. She didn't have to. She was corporate. She might as well own the place for her kind of a might as well own the place for the kind of authority she could exert. She drew gazes from other ship owners, but no one approached her. Those that crossed her path didn't run off to beg for who she represented. Those that crossed her path didn't run off. They had too much respect for who she represented and acted that guilty. But they did take an extra step to act distance. Or maybe it was. The administrative office was to find. She'd memorized the way at the time, but didn't need to bother. Every intersection had a sign point. It was almost like they wanted anyone to go there. She entered the room and paused, letting the door close behind her. 6 decks with 4 men. She waited until one of them noticed her. Gasp. The sound made the others look. Gasped. Gasp. Wait. Gasp. Only one person didn't look up. A woman. The last desk. Catherine headed for her as the others hurried to get back to work. There was a plaque on the desk announcing her name was Tiffany. How quaint. Catherine. Wait a minute. I'm finishing something. She'd picked her because she'd been too focused on her work to notice what others did. Someone who worked hard, because more time than not, it meant someone who. Wow, how the hell did this pass the editor? It meant someone who more time working than. Oh, she wanted someone who worked hard because more time not it one. spent we spent more time working than she finished what she'd been doing. Satisfied smile. She turned to Catherine. What can I? She startled hard enough to knock her glass over. Knock the glass over, she cursed and dabbed at the liquid as to longer than needed. The excuse the woman needed to gather herself after being scared. Our friends did that to people. It had been a conscious decision, yet it they smoothed over, wouldn't scare everyone looking at her this time. Anyone who saw her knew she'd decided to. They had to wonder why, but women wanted a face that would make children cry 6 blocks away. No one had ever asked her. Did maybe tell them. More likely she'd simply smile at them, buying them even. But Catherine, she looked away, probably hoping someone would help. How can I help you? My name is Catherine. Didn't smile or try to appear pleasant. Friday. I'm with Self Security. She only thought of the business, nothing else, and she were employed by Luminex. I had access to Catherine's Tiffany's Catherine. Catherine raised the left eyebrow. Well, I had to practice that. Done it with right eyebrow off before, and not only was that gone, that side of the face no longer. I'm sorry, ma'am, but the security feed isn't public. Now, thinking, I'm not the public. I'm corporate security. She leaned in, making Tiffany lean back. Now, sure you don't get visits from us all that often. The place seems quite enough. So, tell you how this goes. I tell you what to do, do it. Brought on her smile, and Tiffany smiled. It's that. I can't do. Yes, Tiffany. Yes, you can. Tiffany. Access the feed on your terminal and out of the chair. Or, if work to do, find me a quiet office. I work. I think I should call my supervisor. Tiffany reached for the comm on her desk, which forced her to lean forward. Catherine then moved. Father. To call someone, call whoever runs the port, because I'm not wasting my time going through the ladder being told by one person or another that what I can and cannot do. Tiffany again looked around, but Catherine could see where they were all hunched over their terminal, hard at not noticing what was going on. Why do you need access? How? Catherine said. Wow, that's a productive question. Without taking her eyes off the young woman, pulled her data pad from a pocket and desk. It came on, showing a picture. There was a prison breakout, and I've been charged with tracking down one of the escapees. That was of Martin Asinski. My information indicates that he managed to sneak onto a nice little planet of yours. I need to. Last month or so. The woman looked torn, wanting to obey a representative of some sort of law enforcement, and the rules laid down by her superior. Tiffany decided on a slightly. Is this because you don't trust I am who I say I am? Got her XID. Check Luminex's employee database. It's available to the public. Yeah, I'm there. Then look into self-security. You'll see that we are their security. She knew that's what their search would tell the young woman. She had paid good money to make sure her termination didn't reach the public side of the database. Had been money well spent. Worked. The work the Kurtianists had done ensured that unless someone dug all the way to the private side of the company, everything would match Siltzik being employed. She hoped to make use. She knew, but coercionists had been too ingrained within the corporate structure. She'd had to turn to a list Thomas kept. Gritted her teeth. She had been the one contacts on the less legal side of things. Them, she'd found one of her husbands. She found one her husband had trusted with her was strictly a from home coercionist. and she was still without one of her own. Then he stood, but more resolute. If you'll let me, ma'am, I'll take you to where you can. Catherine nodded and out of her would do at the moment. Tiffany had taken a step before noticing Catherine wasn't with her. Anything else you need? Shook her head and did a bat off the desk and at the back office. She unlocked and it was corridors on another door. There was a plaque on it that read secure. The door opened for the dimly lit office screen. The man seated before them was overweight, possibly a reject from the law. Corporate security checks were still too. This. He turned and stared at his face. This is Catherine. Luminex security to look at the port's feed. Catherine stared back at the man, mildly impressed he hadn't looked away. Looked away, or out of embarrassment. Sure. What do you need? I'm going to your chair. Got out of it. She took his place and surveyed the wall of screen. All the ships on this screen kept her gaze going. Yes, ma'am. Every ship's got to have a dedicated camera on it. Security. Port policy. And you can control each feed individually? Yes, ma'am. Can entering all of them at once? That too, if you want, I can. Got all of them moving backward. That's okay. It's okay. I know how to operate. How to operate it. Ma'am, if you'll tell me what you're looking for, I'm sure I can find it for you. Looking for an escaped convict. Head back to your desk, Tiffany. I'm sure you've already taken. I'm sure I've already far too much time. Won't need. You won't need me to find your way back. Catherine smiled over her shoulder. That's. But I can find my own way. Tiffany almost ran out of the room. She went back to looking at the screen, her eyes moving, always with one ship staying. Ship was there. She paused the feed, sped them forward until it landed. Fixed her gaze on a small corvette, all slick and shiny. That him, ma'am? That ship registry. That ship's registry was all in order. Other than the time she'd lost half her face, this was the closest she'd ever been to him. You know everything about every ship's here? No, ma'am. But that's got. But I got a good memory. No, ma'am. But I got a good memory. I remember what the system flags. It didn't flag that one. Which one did it flag among them? And indicated 12 of them, but not Tristan's ship. Of course, everything with Crimson. She watched as Crimson left the ship alone. Returned on just under an hour later. Later, they both exited the ship. Tristan closed it, locked it. She couldn't request. She couldn't request the camera inside the pool because she'd have to explain she was following these two. She kept watching, wanted to speed forwards. And this time, she knew exactly what. But she'd have to explain how she knew her suspect in that time. Gotten office out with this without someone looking over her shoulder. Eventually, her ship landed. She let it go until she walked out of it. See that normal. She found her people walking away from ships as they as if they'd exited them. Looked at one specific face and smiled when she Martins. Gotcha. I need the feed from all the corridors. When you set that up, did you drink? Yes, ma'am. Coffee do? Yes, but is there anywhere you can get good? The model room was empty. Not only that, it had been sterilized. And anything organic in here, time it was gone. She wasn't surprised. Unless he was destroying a place, Tristan never left evidence of it. Even in Crimson's place, there had been nothing but some shed fur to indicate anyone else had been there. He was confident the only reason that was there was that he'd gotten there before. Wow. Let's okay. Even in Kristen's place, there had been nothing but shed fur to indicate anyone had been there. Uh, don't think I can change that one. She had been confident the only reason was that she'd gotten there before properly clean the apartment. Even in Crimson's place, there had been nothing but some shed fur to indicate anyone else had. And she was confident the only reason was the only reason was that she'd gotten there or he could apartment. He hadn't had time to get to his accomplice's apartment, or possibly that had been Crimson's job, but he acted more strongly than either had expected to the fabricated virus used to justify his absence from him, and had had the time to do it before her security showed up. She had to admit Crimson had been good. Hadn't been a plant, not with working for decades. How the alien had turned him, she couldn't love. Crimson was a known xenophile, but his file said he was loyal. Passed the test every employee was given without their knowledge. His attendance record was nearly perfect. The recruiters had to have missed something, a detail, a vice. There had to have been something that would allow Tristan to gain more loyalty from him than for the company, and in a short period of time. Tristan had turned so loyal to Tristan that he'd come back to work when she was forced to release, only to steal corporate property and run back to what? Master? She stepped out of the room and looked at the hover. It was the one Crimson had rented. Rental to give her the tracking free had been simple. She'd confirmed the hover had been at the terrorized complex, not like the law. All there. But that part was done of keeping this hover for the rest, and had abandoned it. She had a recording of the hover landing, the door opening, but no out, closed. Didn't work. She looked around. The street had its own camera. The other business, well, business restaurant was the thing that hadn't come down, and by the look of it, wouldn't have any security or both of them. Both of them. All of it. That meant that she'd have to deal with the local law. ID Luminix live that the any could put through at every other time she deployed and did so with caution. It only took one time for ID to be useless for her. Sure, SIL security still existed, but without the power of a corporation like Luminix, without the power a corporation like Luminix gave it, it was nothing more than a name on a plaque like Tiffany. It serves no purpose. She'd kept the law as a last resort. Plenty of people walked around, vagrants she could question. One of them could have seen something of these people saw anything. And then they saw exactly what them do. This was good. But otherwise, it would bug her the entire time she dealt with the law. Which chapter 19 of Shine. Are enjoying this, please. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. As well as the other in this series. They are available on all my want to support me, that's on my Patreon. Get access to basically everything written, and if live, it's every Tuesday morning. The links are in the that I day.